a moment, I'd like to talk to you religious or spiritual ones. Last night I had a vision while I was lying in my bed trying to sleep. I was overcoming the darkness of my eyelids. I was falling into a deep slumber, in a deep state of meditation, and I was focusing on the vibration around me and the frequency I was overcoming. The further I meditated on this thought, I started to think of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Although I'm a universalist, and I do believe in God Most High and ascended masters, I started to think of Jesus. The way I see it is Jesus is the defense attorney, while Satan happens to be the prosecuting attorney, and God is the almighty judge. The more I thought about Jesus, the higher this vibration raised, the deeper into this frequency I fell. Now I sat there worshiping my ascended master, Jesus Christ. I just laid there, listening to the vibrations that I heard, falling deeper and deeper into this frequency. I began to see a tree sitting on top of a small hill in the middle of a great green plain. And without any question, I immediately recognized this as the Garden of Eden. Now, what tree I was looking at, I do not know. It could have been the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which I'll just shorten from now on if I ever bring it up again. The tree of good and evil. Or it could have been the tree of life. Now, I heard someone in my head talking to me, so I responded back using my own thoughts. What I heard was, first of all, I asked a question. I thought, what waits for me underneath that tree? And I heard a response, it is your goal. That is your goal. So I thought, well, this is amazing. The vibrations were raised higher, the frequency got more intense. And I heard another voice, another essence say, it's never gonna work, you should just quit trying. And I just snapped out of it. Now, I know that was the Garden of Eden. It was not a dream either, because I was in the half unconscious state, half conscious state. I was falling asleep. I was not yet dreaming. But I believe, this is what I've always believed, is that the tree of good and evil equals hate. Because knowledge, what's the first thing that happened in the Bible? Adam and Eve ate from the tree of good and evil, and there's a knowledge of good and evil that led to death. There was no death until they ate from the tree of good and evil, and then everything started to die. But then, what you'll read about in the Kabbalah, mystery religions, and the occultism, there's a tree of life, which is the opposite of the tree of death. So, the tree of good and evil, not the tree of death. But I believe the tree of life is love, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, or the tree of good and evil, is death and hatred. Because that's what happened in the beginning of the Bible. Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and then they started dying. People started dying. That's when death first came into existence. And the definition of sin is error. And if you go even further deeper into it, one of the definitions of error is something that leads to death. So sin is what leads to death. But basically, like I said earlier in this video, the Garden of Eden is my goal, I believe. I've had several religious experiences in my life, so this is the first one I'll talk about. In a later video, I'll talk about some of my other spiritual religious experiences, but the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that is sin, that is hatred, and that is death. The tree of life is love and existence. And I'll expound upon that later on. But really what I'm trying to say is, if you listen to my video once, maybe twice, you'll understand it. If you're truly understanding of me and what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to call anyone dumb. I'm not trying to say I'm better than anyone else. But that's a topic for another video. We're all equal. And, I'm just trying to show my love. I mean, yeah, sometimes I have some goofy videos, some funny videos, some stupid videos, but this is a real one. This is a serious one. So I was trying to let you guys know, it's just my input. This is just my point of view on everything. And thank you all. Good night.